There's a moment that happens in conversations everywhere. Someone is telling you something important, something that matters to them, and mid-sentence you watch their eyes flick down to the small rectangle in their hand. It's not rudeness, it's not disrespect, it's something much more complex. You might think they're choosing their phone over you, but here's the truth. They're not reaching for entertainment or distraction. They're reaching for emotional regulation. That small screen has become their portable anxiety management system, their secret companion that helps them breathe when the world feels too overwhelming. You might not even realize you're using it to breathe. Inside the mind of someone who can't put their phone down lives a sophisticated emotional weather system. Think of their nervous system like a barometer that's constantly measuring atmospheric pressure, always scanning for the next storm. The phone provides predictable sunshine in an unpredictable emotional climate. Every notification triggers a small hit of dopamine, the same neurotransmitter involved in addiction, but also in hope. It's not just the message that matters. It's the promise that someone, somewhere, is thinking about you, that you exist in other people's minds even when you're alone. This creates what psychologists call a variable reward schedule. Like a slot machine, you never know when the next pull will pay off. Will this notification be important? Will this scroll reveal something interesting? Will this check show that someone finally responded? The uncertainty keeps you coming back. But here's what most people miss about this behavior. The scroll isn't just mindless browsing, it's emotional avoidance disguised as productivity. Every swipe is a micro escape from whatever discomfort you're feeling in the present moment. Boredom becomes unbearable because boredom means sitting alone with your thoughts. Anxiety gets temporarily soothed by the constant input of new information. Loneliness feels manageable when you're connected to the digital lives of hundreds of people. Your phone becomes a portable anxiety management system that you carry everywhere. Watch what happens when the battery dies or the Wi-Fi cuts out. The panic isn't about missing calls or losing access to information. It's about losing your primary coping mechanism. It's like having your emotional support system suddenly vanish. The phantom vibration phenomenon reveals how deeply this dependency lives in your nervous system. You feel your phone buzzing in your pocket even when it's not there. Your body has become so attuned to the possibility of connection that it creates sensations that don't exist. This isn't weakness. This is your nervous system trying to regulate itself in a world that often feels overwhelming. The checking becomes compulsive because it serves a function that goes deeper than entertainment. Every glance at the screen is a temperature check on your emotional environment. Are you safe? Are you connected? Are you missing something important? The fear of missing out isn't really about events or opportunities. It's about missing the moment when someone might need you, when something important might happen, when your absence might be noticed and interpreted as not caring. Your mind starts to operate like it's always on call for an emergency that might never come. The cruel paradox is that the very tool you use to feel connected often leaves you feeling more isolated. You're physically present, but emotionally elsewhere. You're surrounded by people, but engaged with screens. This fear runs deeper than social anxiety. It's existential anxiety disguised as connectivity. Your phone becomes a lifeline to proof that you matter. Each notification is evidence that someone thought of you. Each response confirms that your words have impact. Each like validates that your existence registers in other people's consciousness. But here's where the fear gets more complex. The phone also protects you from the vulnerability of genuine human connection. Think about it. When you're scrolling during a conversation, you're not just seeking stimulation. You're creating a buffer between yourself and the person in front of you. The screen becomes a shield that protects you from the intensity of being fully seen and known by another human being. Real connection requires presence, and presence means being vulnerable to whatever emotions arise in the moment. It means sitting with uncomfortable silences. It means feeling the weight of someone else's attention. It means risking genuine intimacy. The phone offers a more manageable version of connection. You can control the timing, edit your responses, curate your image, and exit whenever the emotional temperature gets too high. Social media becomes your emotional temperature check, a constant monitoring system that tells you how you're doing relative to everyone else. You scroll through other people's highlight reels not for entertainment, but for comparison data that helps you calibrate your own worth. Are you successful enough? Happy enough? Connected enough? The endless feed provides a never-ending stream of metrics against which you can measure your life. But this comparison trap creates its own anxiety. Everyone else seems to be living more interesting lives, having more meaningful experiences, maintaining more vibrant relationships. Your internal struggle feels shameful when contrasted with the polished presentations of others' lives. The fear of missing out becomes hypervigilance disguised as social awareness. You're not just afraid of missing a party or an opportunity. You're afraid of missing the moment when something shifts in your social ecosystem, when alliances change, when conflicts emerge, when important information gets shared. Your nervous system stays alert for threats to your social position, constantly scanning for signs that you're being excluded, overlooked, or forgotten. Boredom becomes intolerable because boredom means being alone with your own thoughts and feelings. When the external stimulation stops, when the constant input pauses, you're left with whatever emotions you've been avoiding. The silence feels dangerous because it's in the silence that anxiety surfaces, that loneliness becomes apparent, that the questions you don't want to answer start demanding attention. Your phone provides a constant escape hatch from the discomfort of your own internal experience. Every time an uncomfortable feeling arises, you can immediately flee into the curated distraction of someone else's content. But here's the cruel irony. The more you use your phone to avoid difficult emotions, the less capable you become of tolerating them naturally. Your emotional muscles atrophy from lack of use. The device that was supposed to connect you to the world starts disconnecting you from yourself. The fear beneath the screen isn't really about technology. It's about the fundamental human terror of being alone, of being insignificant, of being forgotten in a world that moves too fast to notice individual pain. Your phone dependency is actually your heart's attempt to solve an ancient human problem: how to feel safe and connected in an uncertain world. The endless scroll promises that somewhere in the infinite feed lies the piece of content that will finally satisfy you, the perfect video that will make you laugh until your anxiety disappears, the inspiring post that will solve your motivation problems, the profound quote that will answer the questions keeping you awake at night. But here's the truth about infinite content. It's designed to create hunger, not satisfy it. Every platform operates on what tech designers call the attention economy. Your focus has become a commodity that companies harvest and sell to advertisers. The algorithms aren't neutral. They're engineered to exploit your psychological vulnerabilities. They've learned that anger keeps you scrolling longer than happiness. That comparison generates more engagement than contentment. That anxiety produces more clicks than peace. So they feed you a steady diet of content calibrated to keep you emotionally unsettled. Not upset enough to leave, but never satisfied enough to stop. The comparison trap becomes inescapable because you're not comparing your real life to other people's real lives. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes struggle to everyone else's highlight reel. Their vacation photos against your Monday morning anxiety. Their relationship milestones against your private doubts about love. This creates a distorted reality where everyone else seems to have figured out secrets you're still searching for. Everyone else appears more successful, more confident, more naturally happy than you feel inside your own skin. The news cycle becomes another layer of addiction disguised as staying informed. But the constant stream of global catastrophes, political outrage, and social injustice creates a chronic state of activation in your nervous system. Your brain, designed to respond to immediate local threats, can't distinguish between a tiger in your backyard and a crisis happening on the other side of the world. Every headline triggers your fight or flight response, flooding your system with stress hormones meant for physical danger. Doom scrolling becomes a trauma response to feeling powerless in the face of overwhelming global problems. You keep consuming information about things you can't control because your nervous system mistakes information gathering for problem solving. But the information never leads to resolution. It just accumulates into a heavy weight of awareness about suffering you can't fix, injustices you can't remedy, problems too big for any individual solution. The illusion of productivity through constant consumption becomes another trap. You tell yourself you're learning, staying informed, expanding your mind. But most digital consumption is passive absorption, not active engagement. You're not actually processing the information deeply enough for it to change you. You're just letting it wash over you like background noise, creating the feeling of intellectual activity without the substance of genuine learning. Late-night scrolling sessions destroy your sleep architecture, the delicate process your brain needs to consolidate memories and regulate emotions. The blue light tricks your circadian rhythm into thinking it's daytime, suppressing melatonin production and keeping your mind artificially alert. You wake up tired, not just from lack of sleep, but from the emotional residue of everything you consume before bed. Your dreams become populated with fragments of other people's content, your subconscious mind trying to process information that was never meant for deep integration. Morning anxiety often stems directly from reaching for your phone before you've even fully awakened. Before your nervous system has had time to naturally calibrate to the day, you're flooding it with notifications, news, and other people's emotional content. Your phone becomes an emotional crutch that weakens your natural coping mechanisms. Instead of developing internal resources for managing boredom, anxiety, or loneliness, you outsource emotional regulation to a device that can provide temporary relief, but never lasting peace. The hollow promise isn't just that content will satisfy you, it's that external stimulation can replace internal wisdom, that digital connection can substitute for embodied presence, that consuming other people's thoughts can replace the difficult work of thinking your own thoughts. But here's the deeper truth about what you're really seeking through that endless scroll. You're looking for yourself. The healing doesn't begin with throwing your phone in a drawer or deleting every app. It begins with something far more radical. Understanding that your phone dependency isn't a character flaw. It's your nervous system's attempt to regulate itself in an overwhelming world. Think of recovery like learning to swim in emotional waters you've been avoiding. You can't just jump into the deep end. You need to start in the shallow water, building tolerance for discomfort one breath at a time. The 3-second pause becomes your first act of rebellion against compulsive checking. Before you reach for your phone, count to 3. Not to stop yourself, but to create space between impulse and action. In that pause lives the possibility of choice. What are you really seeking in this moment? Connection? Distraction from anxiety? Proof that you matter? The pause allows you to name the need beneath the reaching. Create sacred spaces for boredom and uncomfortable feelings. Designate phone-free zones in your home where silence is allowed to exist, where thoughts can surface without immediately being drowned in digital noise. This feels terrifying at first because you've forgotten how to be alone with yourself. Your mind, unaccustomed to stillness, will race through every worry, every regret, every fear you've been avoiding. This isn't breakdown, it's breakthrough. The withdrawal feelings are real and they matter. When you reduce phone use, your nervous system goes through genuine recalibration. The anxiety, the restlessness, the feeling that something essential is missing, these aren't signs you're doing something wrong. They're signs your brain is learning to regulate itself naturally again. Phone boundaries become acts of self-compassion, not self-punishment. You're not depriving yourself of connection. You're protecting your capacity for deeper connection by creating space for presence. Learn to sit with discomfort without immediately reaching for relief. Boredom isn't an emergency that needs to be fixed. Anxiety isn't a fire that needs to be extinguished with digital water. These feelings are information, not instructions. Building tolerance for silence and solitude becomes emotional strength training. Each moment you resist the urge to fill emptiness with content, you're developing muscles you didn't know you had. The goal isn't perfect phone habits. It's gentle awareness of what you're truly seeking and the courage to find healthier ways to meet those needs. Your phone dependency isn't weakness. It's your nervous system seeking safety in an overwhelming world. The real addiction isn't to the device. It's to the feeling of being connected and emotionally regulated. You're not broken. You're responding to a perfectly designed system that exploits the human need for connection. True presence isn't about perfect phone habits. It's about gentle awareness of what you're really seeking beneath the scroll.